In this video, let's go through how to expose and use a log profile. There are loads of blogs and videos that all go on about what settings you should use to expose for a log profile and how you can get the most out of shooting in log. What there seems to be though is a complete lack of a practical guide on how to actually do it. There's a lot of theory and a lot of techno-babble is involved, and a lot of about how to expose for middle grey and getting noise out of the shadows. So here is my comprehensive guide with very little techno-babble, and when and why you should shoot in log and how to use it for your videos. In layman's terms, a log profile is a flat picture profile for your camera, which allows you to capture more of the dynamic range than your camera can traditionally see. We use a log image when we have a heavily contrasted image, such as filming outside in direct sunlight. The profile has no contrast, very little sharpness, and desaturated colours. The idea is that we colour correct the footage to return all of these later in an editing program like Premiere Pro or Final Cut Pro. As an example, below is a shot filmed in a standard profile and one in a log profile. On the standard profile, you can see that a waveform is completely filled out. Now let's try the same exposure settings but with the log profile. With the log profile, this image now looks underexposed, and if we look at our waveforms for it, we can see that the waveforms are now in the lower half. If we were to then take this log image and color correct it back to try and make it the same as the standard profile, we introduce a lot of digital noise. With a log image, we need to expose it 2 stops brighter than the standard profile. This is because the image is being crushed into the center with the idea that we can pull all of this information back out in the editing suite. By exposing to the right, we can pull the shadows back down later, giving you a cleaner image with less noise. A mistake that a lot of filmmakers make when they get a camera with a log profile such as the Canon C100 or Sony a7S II is that they shoot in a log profile in all situations, and I was exactly the same. The truth is that you don't need to shoot in a log profile in every scenario or location that you go to. In a fixed lighting situation such as an interview or a green screen studio, or where you have complete control of the lighting such as in this scenario, there really isn't the need to film in a log profile. As you don't have to have the requirement or tricky lighting situations, you are much better off shooting in a standard profile or a natural picture profile to save yourself a lot of color correcting down the line. Another time you don't want to use a log profile is when you are shooting in low light. Now earlier I talked about exposing a log image 2 stops brighter than an image filmed in a standard profile. In a low light situation, when you can't open the aperture up anymore or lower the shutter speed, you'll then have to raise your ISO. The higher you raise your ISO, the more digital noise you introduce into the image. If you are going to shoot in a low light situation, once again you're better off shooting in a natural picture profile or a standard profile so that you can reduce your ISO, especially if you can't bring any lights to the location. Filming in a log profile has a lot of benefits in terms of being able to use the majority of the dynamic range of the camera. A lot of log profiles though are being shipped with cameras which either have a low bitrate or operate in the 420 color space. If you do have a camera like this, or any of the Sony a7S cameras which all have the same 8-bit codec, then either you can film in a natural picture profile, or you can use an external recorder from Atomos or Blackmagic, which takes a signal via HDMI or SDI depending on your camera and records it at ProRes 422. I use an Atomos Ninja Blade to record to ProRes 422 because this gives me a much more robust codec to edit footage with, especially if I'm shooting in a log profile. There are lots of ways to color correct a log image to get it back to Rec 709 in your editing suite, so in a future video I'm going to break down my process of exactly how I do it and how easy it is to do, especially when you understand the limitations of your camera, the codec, and the lighting situation that you find yourself in. If you've got any questions, pop them down below, and I'll see you in the next video.